You're listening to probably the best fitness and nutrition podcast, where we give you the most important fitness and nutrition advice you will ever need to know. Probably. Make sure to like us on Facebook and Instagram for fitness at Roux Fitness and for nutrition at Stacked Coaching. While you're there, give us a 5-star review, rate, review, and subscribe, and share it with your friends. I'm laughing because we just renamed our podcast.
Oh, no. That's right. We did just rename it.
So welcome to probably the best fitness and nutrition podcast. Probably. I am Bradley Schneller. This is Sarah Altabello. We also have a guy named Thomas with us. And our featured guest, Eric Moore from Roux Fitness.
Hi.
No, but for real, big shout out to Thomas Morstead. Thank you for coming on this podcast. I have been watching workout videos of you for some time. Some of the things that really stood out to me were like the single arm pull-up stuff you were doing.
Yeah.
Chains, like I thought that was really cool. And I don't know, we're going to get into your background, but it looked like you did a lot of CrossFit-y style things or functional fitness things that you don't normally see people doing. And I was like, oh, so that's how I got kind of interested in you. So, but I did name this podcast on our calendar. I don't know if you got it, podcast with Legatron.
Oh, perfect. I'm cool with that. Very good.
Yeah, I got a notification a few minutes ago that in 15 minutes we were recording with Legatron.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Nice. So, Thomas, like, when did you get your start maybe like working out? Can you kind of go to the very beginning?
Yeah.
Like, what was your background?
Okay, so I'd kind of go in two different directions on that. Number one, my dad was a pro cyclist. So growing up, I just kind of got a firsthand look into one of the grimiest sports there is. Just, it's a lot of suffering, a lot of pain.
Did he do the big tour events?
No, he won 6 different state championships in 3 different states.
Wow.
In his 20s and 30s. I got to witness a few, which was cool. And he was at Nationals 13 years and flatted 11 times. So he had extraordinarily bad luck as when he got in the big races. But it was just really cool growing up. Kind of, I know a lot of people now think of like Lance Armstrong just because of him being an American and
right.
bringing so much light to the sport. But, I got to see my dad on the podium with Lance before Lance was Lance. And so it was cool growing up watching him. And he had a normal job because cycling paid nothing unless you were Lance or a few of the top cyclists in the world. And he had a family. And so he would come home and get home about 4 in the afternoon every day, and he would go get straight on his bike. And I just remember it was just cool watching him just suffer. And
it's like the biggest mental grind sport I can imagine. I used to, I got into watching cycling because of Lance Armstrong.
Yep.
And people may or may not know this, but I used to spend when I was a kid, or in high school, should I say, I would wake up at 5 in the morning and go turn on the Tour de France and watch 4 hours of cycling every year for a decade. Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, so I just, bottom line, I got a firsthand look at what it takes to be great at whatever you're doing. And I remember my dad I asked him what made him so good when I was in high school, and he just said, I just know I can suffer more than others. Wow. And I thought that's a pretty powerful thing to say and believe, and it gave him a mental edge. So I've kind of always taken that with the way I do things. And then just kind of my background, I played football in junior high, broke my leg in high school as a freshman, didn't play again until my senior year, went out for the team, and had a great experience as a senior. I got an engineering scholarship to SMU and walked on there for a few years, and really was like a really late bloomer, and got put on scholarship my 3rd, 4th, and 5th year, and then got drafted by the Saints.
You graduated from?
I did not graduate. I had 2 classes left.
Do you want to finish them?
Yeah, it's a thorn in my side. I've got 2 classes left. My degree was mechanical engineering with biomedical specialization. My dad was an engineer, and so he always said he wished he'd been a doctor. So it was essentially like a dual degree.
Right.
If I wanted to maybe going to med school. It just seemed like kind of a regret of his, so I thought I'd give myself that option. But I still have molecular cell bio and OChem too, which I'm not excited about having to do. But I'm very close. But anyhow, I really got into weightlifting as a senior in high school, and didn't have any sort of coaching. I was literally going to like a 24-hour fitness and just kind of doing all the machines. And
in high school on the football team, or did they just ignore you because you were a kicker?
No, like my point was I showed up 2 days before the fall started and said, hey, do y'all need a kicker? And they said, we have one, but we'll take an extra one and you can join. So I didn't really go through all of the stuff. I mean, it was a big-time high school football in my town in Pearland. And so I didn't really get, exposed to all the weight training and all that. Mm-hmm. And so I just got into it. And when I started lifting weights, I put on a lot of weight immediately because midway through my junior year, I was 6'3", 135.
Woo!
So
Whoa, that's crazy.
I'm not like a super skinny boned guy either.
That's
so
Brandon Ingram skinny.
There was literally nothing on the bone. So, and when I got into college, I got a little bit of, next level coaching on just Olympic lifting, and it was linear. It was like the weights went up, the ball went further, the ball went higher, and I was locked in, and I loved it. I could see the gains that were tangible. And then I discovered why I was so sore all the time was because I wasn't eating after I was working out. And then I got into nutrition a little more, and I don't know. I just think that's kind of been something that's set me apart for my whole career, really. And I've just gotten into it more as your body changes and you get older. You just kind of it's kind of like a puzzle that you're always trying to the puzzle, the pieces keep changing, and so you kind of have to keep pulling them apart and putting them back together and trying new ways and trying new things and researching new things, and I just love doing it.
We say that all the time. Like one of the big things for me, and for everybody, like a lot of people have the pieces to the puzzle, but it's how you put those pieces together that matters individually for each person. Yeah. Before, how did you decide you wanted to kick?
Well, when I played soccer, I was always the team lets you know who wants to kick, who they want to take free kicks. And I kind of got selected all the time. I could just kick it far, even though I was not quick or explosive short area. I could hammer a kick, and that was before I had touched a weight or had any sort of training. And so, I think people gravitate towards what they're good at, and it gives you confidence at a young age. And some people like going to the golfing range on Sundays. I used to go to my high school and just tee up a ball and kick, and I loved doing it. And so I don't know why I loved it, but I did. And it's never been something that I've, begrudgingly had to, oh, man, I really got to go get some work in today. Like, I still love getting out on the field. I still I jump the tracks at my house in Metairie and go punt at Pontiff. And I don't need any lines. I don't need a stopwatch. And just go, all right, I'm punting to the flagpole here, or I'm kicking field goals.
I saw a video of you kicking down your street. Did you hit any cars?
I hit my own car and busted my windshield.
Jeez.
Yeah. I had to do the old safe light repair, safe light replace. So, you just have fun with it. Last year was very difficult with COVID, and kids were out of school, and, we didn't have any help. And so I just had to kind of get creative.
Eric, you weren't here yet, right?
No,
you showed up, what, summertime?
Yeah.
Yeah.
August.
Was COVID the factor for you to move here and help out?
No,
it was always planned?
Planned. We just, a job opportunity came up in New Orleans. I said, man, you're going to New Orleans 2 or 3 times a month. Why don't you just let us move over here? So I said, yeah, sounds like a good idea.
They used his grandkids as leverage. It worked.
I mean, that's good leverage.
It worked.
How many more years do you want to work? I'm just wondering.
0.
Probably 3 or 4 more years.
Yeah. How old are you now?
62.
You're 62?
Yeah.
All right, so what y'all don't know is Sarah and I get the pleasure
Yep.
of watching Eric work out almost every single day. And
Eric's my father-in-law, in case anyone
if you didn't know.
By the way.
Dude, you just grind every day. I love it. No matter what, you're not trying to win anything.
Nope.
You're not trying to go super fast. You just show up and do the work.
I used to be that person that would try to compete. And I didn't start until I was 52 or something like
CrossFit?
that. CrossFit. And you know, it's a bunch of young kids, and I'd try to keep up with them, and you know, every 6 months or so, I'd be down with an injury, and I said, I finally just, you know, I said, no, this is not going to work. I just need to do what I can do, and I try to go as hard as I can, and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
I appreciate that you record everything. Like, that was one of the first things I noticed about you is you came in with your notebook.
Yeah.
I love
You're
that too.
writing down the workout. You're recording the weights you were using, getting the most out of it for you where you are, which I've always
I
liked.
find that the biggest thing for like 50-year-olds that have a little bit of experience and have a little bit of push is they want to compete with 30-year-olds.
Just doesn't work.
Which you can once, like let's say once a week, you could pick out a workout and
Exactly.
go hard
Exactly.
and be fine.
Right.
You try to do that 5 days a week, you are going to jack yourself up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think he does a good job of competing with himself. He'll come home and he'll be like, God, I thought I had this weight today, but he knows where his lines are of what's great for him in that day. And so it's not about really anybody else. It's just he's kind of competing with himself, and he knows what bars he has for himself.
I noticed that.
He is competitive in his own way, which is probably the better way to compete. It's just about self-improvement. That's it.
Yeah.
You want to come coach here?
I swear I'm not done playing yet, but maybe down the road.
If you
New
are,
Orleans
like
is home.
if things don't work out, Thomas,
Yeah.
like
Well, they will work
We're
out,
good.
but at some point they'll be done. And I'd love to do something like this. So there
you heard
go.
that? Things will work out. I
Yeah.
like that positive mindset mentality. So
There
have
you
you always had that?
I think so. I just wrote a book last year. That's what I just dropped off
Oh,
over there.
let's
And
get it.
We don't need to pump it. I was just saying.
I know, but I want
The
can we?
you can if you want, but the author that helped write that with me, Sean Jensen, he kind of highlights one little.
We're official now.
He highlights one kind of thing about each of his athletes that
Oh,
he's
I
written
love
about, and the one thing that after doing the whole thing with me, he said, your thing is your compass. And I said, what do you mean by that? He said, man, you just have such a positive mindset with everything you do, and even in uncertainty, you know what you need to do, and there's never any gray. You're very convicted on everything you do. And he said, that's a gift.
That's
And he
awesome.
said very few people have that, especially young people. And it was just cool that he, I guess I'd never consciously thought of myself in that way, but he said it was as bright as could be for him. And so, yeah, I think I call myself unrationally optimistic.
Yeah.
And when you're a specialist, there's a lot of days we don't feel your best, or you're not having a great warm up, and you have to persuade yourself to a certain mindset, or else you don't even have a chance of being successful. And so I've had a lot of practice at that
I love it.
over the last number of years.
The book is called The Middle School Rules of Thomas Morstead. There's a picture of him on the back. His haircut is much better now. You do look better
That's what my
now.
wife says as well.
Well, look, I just met you today, but I'm not going to hold any punches, Thomas.
I appreciate it.
I will always be honest with you.
Appreciate it.
So I want to keep going about mindset because I think that is so interesting. Do you find, and let's like push it to professional sports, does everyone have that like similar mentality, or is there like a clear delineation between the players that do and don't?
Yeah, I would say there's a pretty clear delineation. I mean, I would say that a locker room is very much like any standard deviation of any locker room. Y'all's CrossFit gym.
Right.
It's the same, right? You're going to have some people that are in all the different avenues of really negative, really positive, and somewhere in between. And so I think the people that you see that are in their 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th year, you know, a lot of high achievers and a lot of people that have different mindsets. And so, but, you know, when you go in an NFL locker room, the thing that you will know you're going to have is the highest level talent.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that, you don't even get in the door. But then after that, it's a lot of the same characteristics that probably hold people back in your own gym, that hold players back from being in the NFL. It's not that they can't run fast enough, or they can't turn their hips quick enough, or that they can't, physically do something. They wouldn't be there if they couldn't already do those physical things. It's more of the mental makeup and how they deal with adversity, 'Social skills.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't take much to turn a coach from positive to negative or negative to positive. It's about eye contact. Are you sitting in the front? Are you asking questions? Do you know what to do? Does coach have to get on you about the same thing 3 times in a row? It's no different than a first grade class with teachers.
Well, that makes me think of this. Like, so, people ask us all the time, like Sarah and I, oh, you must be perfect with your nutrition, or like, how do you kill these workouts? All those types of things, just on a like inner gym level, okay, not nearly professional sports. But the answer is kind of the same from professional sports all the way down to first grade. And that's like, we do stuff that we intend to do when no one's looking. You know what I mean? So like when we're by ourselves and the workout sucks, and it'd be real easy to say, I'm just going to shut it down. Like, no, we finish it. Like our intention was this amount of work today. We're going to finish it no matter what, if it's by ourselves in the gym with no one else here. And I kind of look at it the same way. I relate this to my second grader at Hines. Shout out to Brennan. He's not listening to this. But he comes home and the dude just does his work. I don't know what homework he has. He just does it. Dude gets all A's. It's being tested for gifted. I'm not gloating. I am just proud. Okay. But like, I don't know what his work is. He just does it. And I just find that it's when people do the work without being asked are truly successful.
Well, I also think back to what you talked about your dad saying about suffering. Like, there are a lot of hard things we do physically, but it's a lot of the kind of suffering I think I've experienced is all my own doing. And it's if you can get through that and quiet those negative voices and push through it when you really don't want to, and not be worried about finishing first, but just being worried about finishing and showing up and how you show up.
I think it's a daily practice. Mm-hmm. I don't think it ever gets easy. And I think what's wrong with a lot of people's expectations, that's the issue, is their expectations, right? Well, how do you guys must do this all the time perfectly. I tell people, a lot of people get sold on, hey, buy the new club membership. And they show up for a few weeks or a month, and they don't see the results they want. And I always tell people, I remember learning this in science in college, that some of your cells in your body, the longest ones that take to the longest life cycle of some of your cells in your body, some are days, some are weeks, some are months, is 7 years. So every 7 years, you're cellularly 100% different than you were 7 years ago. So think about that. So I always tell people, if you want to make a real change, a lasting change, it takes 7 years. And people hate to hear that. but it's also a good expectation to set in your mind that it's not something you don't diet for 2 weeks and have made a life change.
No.
Right? And so I think at least if you can you need to have 2 things. You need to set your expectation way on the flip side if you really want to make a change, which is this is going to be really, really hard. That's number one. Have that realistic expectation. And then you need to have the balance to not see that as a giant mountain, and you just need to be able to see the next step, which is just today. Because I hear Papa all the time. He's like, I don't even look at the workout before I show up. Half the time he doesn't. Now, he sent it to me this morning because he was looking out for me because I haven't been here and I'm not used to this type of training. But basically, he just said, hey, I know it's going to be hard today, but he's just going to show up. He'll look at it right before he gets in, and whatever it is, he's just going to do his best. But I think that's a great way for him to just focus on his next step and his next thing, because sometimes the mountain can look really tall. And it's no different than you could break it down from time of years. You could break it down into one workout. You could just show up and look at this workout and it looks like the biggest mountain in the world.
Yeah.
You don't need to worry about the mountain. What's in front of you? Okay, we had to start off with an 800-meter run today. All right, that's all I'm worried about. And then I'm going to get in here and I'm going to ask Coach Brad when I'm breathing, sucking wind, and say, all right, what's next? And then I don't want to know the next 5 things. Tell me what's next. And then I'm just going to do that. But I think I
figured that out along the way, because I want to be like, it's just on the board. But then I'm like,
well,
no,
I figured it out. Yeah, no, I like it too.
That's something I try and tell people, like, do not worry about the whole workout. Worry about the next rep you have to do.
Yeah. And so I think that's a practice thing too. It's, this is so like, I have lots of little mental things for me that I'm a little bit OCD on, but like, I have this thing where we have these little noisemakers in all our kids' rooms, and it drives me crazy because no one ever turns them off, right? And so when I come downstairs from our upstairs, and if I ever hear one of them running, I don't ever let myself not turn it off. It's just kind of like a mindset. I got to do it every day. I got to go turn that off, or I got to go hit the lights and turn them all off. And it's just kind of you just can't let yourself out of things. Today, I thought the run was the finish. Talking about finishing things, right? So I busted it, and I was running hard, and I said, I know how to red line. I know how to get myself finished here.
Yeah,
and I'm laying out, and Brad's like, hey, are you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm toasted. And he was like, well, we're not done yet. And I said, oh, well, I thought it was this morning when I saw that workout.
Then.
You didn't know I changed it.
And so talking about, finishing up, I had to get up and get off my ass and, finish out. But it's kind of just a mindset. You just don't let yourself have those little days off or you don't let yourself out of the things when you're on. I'm not saying you don't ever have a day off.
I had that similar experience on Wednesday. I was at track practice out at Harold Playground over here. And we had to do 100-yard sled sprints with 135 pounds. And I was working with these college kids, and Emily was out there too. She only had to do 95 pounds. And she's like, it's really close. I'm like, come on, stop. All right. And she crushed it, by the way. So I do 2, and my legs are freaking on fire, like absolute fire. And I lay on the ground, and I'm like, man, I got to go. I think I had to record something. Oh, I had a call. I had a conference call in like 20 minutes. I'm like, I got to leave. I got to get the car. No way am I doing another one. I'm watching 2 of the college kids after they did their third, like laying on the track shaking. And I'm like, oh, this is great. And so I wait a little bit, and the other guys were like, oh, it's all right. Don't worry about it. And then I'm like, no, I have this. And I got up, went across that field, and pulled that sled.
Well, I think there's also a misconception. Like a lot of people will see some of us work out and they think that I love every single thing I'm doing. And that's not the case. I don't love every single movement, that's for sure. I know the things that are going to hurt, but I love the process and I love what I get out of it at the end. And I see the benefits of doing the hard things and the things that I don't like. And I see the bigger picture and what's at the end and what I'm going after and just how to push through.
Yeah, I did circle time before class. So for those of you who aren't members of our gym, we do a circle before class. We say our names so everybody can get to know each other. And then it's a normal little tidbit. Today was, what did you have for dinner last night? And then I get all judgy. I'm joking. A little bit.
A little judgy.
A little bit. And then, but earlier in the week, I said, what do you hate to do in the gym? Tell me one thing you hate to do in the gym. And when everybody finished saying they hate, I said, cool, now y'all need to do that more. Get out of your comfort zone. So
yeah, I think learning to call it voluntary suffering, right? If involuntary suffering is not great, that's a lot of things that shouldn't be happening around the world. But learning to voluntarily suffer, I think if you can do something that's uncomfortable every single day, people that I know that do that regularly live pretty simple, happy lives. If you just learn to do something like that every day.
I know we came to talk about fitness and nutrition here, but like you're onto something, Thomas, and I love this. Okay, like I get these really great vibes from you. Do you have any intention to be like some type of mindset coach post retirement?
I don't know. I haven't let myself have an out on my career. There's probably 10 different things I can think of that I would potentially do when I'm done playing, but. You know, when people say don't put all your eggs in one basket in college, I was like, F that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to ever have a regret if I don't make it. And so my eggs are all in one basket, and I'm going to sell out as long as I can.
That's worked so far.
It's worked pretty good. And it just gives you a different level of confidence when you're all in.
There's something to be said for like we can't have failure because this is all I got.
And it's not that you don't fail.
Right.
It's that it just, you know that failure is a possibility and you're still all in. It's kind of like loving somebody. You're going to get your heart broken at some point, whether they break up with you or someone dies. But if you don't kind of go all in, you'll never have it won't ever be as good as it could be anyways. And so it's just kind of that sort of mindset. And I can deal with the loss at some point whenever it's over, or just like getting released this spring. I mean, that felt like somebody died to me, which sounds ridiculous probably to some people, but man, that was just really difficult to go through. And
It felt like that for all of us.
let me tell you, it was, thank you. Well, it was, but I have no regret about it.
Yeah.
And I've had as good of an experience, I think, as anybody's ever had playing for any team ever. Like, there's not one piece of, not every day was great, but the whole thing has been outstanding. And I wouldn't change anything about it. And so I can deal with all of those, whatever the results are at the end. And I'm just, I'm all in. And
How many seasons do you think you have in you? 7 more?
I don't know. People have been asking me that for about 5 years. I think once you get to 30, people just start asking you, hey, how long are you going to do this? So I don't know. I think, I haven't finished outside the top 10 in net since my rookie year. So it's 11 straight years. And last year was definitely a down year physically.
You were hurt, though, right?
Well, I got hurt before the season. So I wasn't actually hurt during the season. But I didn't have my normal training, and then I was laid up for a month before the season or before training camp, and I just was physically, not where I normally come in, and I had an eye issue, which has been corrected. So, but a lot of teams, there's a lot of 34, 35-year-olds that can say, well, I had an injury, right? Well, a lot of teams probably say, well, you're also in your mid-30s, and that's when people sometimes start to decline. So there's some reasonable uncertainty from teams, and I'm looking forward to, proving everybody that I'm, still where I, in an elite place.
Yeah, what sucks is, like, at the end of the day, it's a business, right? Like, they have to do a cost-benefit analysis.
Yeah. But look, that's why it's awesome. I don't resent the team at all.
Yeah.
I didn't play well enough last year. I'm the highest paid player in the league. I didn't play good enough. And that's what makes it so special, is that, I think people want it to be a meritocracy when they try to get in, and then they want loyalty when they're on the way out, right?
It's great.
I appreciate how special it is, and so I don't have any resentment about it. I didn't play well enough, and that's okay. And I'm really excited for the next chapter, because I don't know whether my kids are really paying attention right now, but I think one day they're going to look back and they're kind of watching what's happening. And I don't know that I'll be able to provide the type of resilience that I saw my dad provide to me. I got to see it when I was in my teens, so your antennas are up a little more.
Yeah.
But I think they'll look back, and it'll be documented, and this is kind of my chance to show them how to go kick ass.
They will.
And so I'm excited. I'm hoping that the opportunity's right. I know I'll have an opportunity, but I can't wait to show them what it's like to go, bounce back. So
That's a good story. It's a good story. So does the family move? Are you going to commute?
I would say, unless I'm super close regionally, we'll all just...
What would be super close regionally?
Man, I don't even want to...
I'm looking at you with that side eye, Thomas.
I don't even want to say...
You don't even want to know.
It's an hour flight time, I believe.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, but
Delta flies it frequently.
Yeah. Look, all I'm going to say is the greatest kicker in Saints history went there after his...
Oh, God!
I don't know. We'll see. All I can tell you is that... Lauren, about a week after, we kind of did our grieving together. It was just as hard on her as it was on me. And she just said, look, I know you're not done.
Yeah. And
she said, if we got to go on a little 4 or 5 month adventure this fall as a family, we'll pick it up and figure it out.
That's cool.
And she's all about it. She told me, she said, these kids are watching you. And so that was, you want to talk about your wife looking you in the eye and telling you that. That was kind of badass.
Emily's family is from the area, so we can give you some recommendations on where to commute temporarily.
Cool. Appreciate it. You're talking about.
Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens.
All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty fitness part. So we got all the feels out.
Yeah,
we did our feelings.
I like
feelings. Okay. And let's just skip to when shit got real for you, training-wise. Okay. As a punter, do you come up with your own training routine, or? Because I know strength coach is kind of different in the NFL than in college, right? Like, you guys are more of your own entities. Is that correct?
Well, all I know is what the Saints has been like. So I don't know what it's like other places. So I'm speaking as if I know what it's like around the league. But all I know is, you got 32 different teams that operate 32 different ways.
So how did it operate for you, strength-wise, and conditioning-wise?
Look, I would say extraordinarily unathletic high schooler, started working out, but even when I started working out, I didn't have a good functional base. And so I would say I'm more mobile and fluid now than I've ever been in my life. And I was just stiff and super explosive as a 23-year-old. And so, look, I came into, I think that was definitely a positive for me. I remember going to the Senior Bowl and the Combine, and they were like, look, you're going to have to walk out on a stage in your tights. And, I wasn't standing next to other linebackers. I was standing next to other kickers and punters. And I was like, this is going to be a good thing for me. I can go out and kind of look the part, and they'll think I'm athletic, right? Because I'm standing next to a bunch of these other guys. And so, I had a great trainer my sophomore, junior, senior year of college who was a walk-on A&M named Rich Cody, and he was just out of the league and wasn't sure what he was doing, and he was training at SMU, and he kind of just saw me the way I worked and the way I punted, and he played with Shane Leckler at A&M, and he said, I've never seen anybody punt like you except for Shane. And so he kind of took a liking to me and started giving me little tidbits of training, and I really got into that. And then I think when I got drafted, I think that was just something that people just saw. They just saw a big, strong, explosive guy that could hammer a ball. And I just I checked all the boxes on prototype, 6'4", and so it's just always been something that set me apart. And some people don't love the training. I just love it. I love getting in the gym.
Do you decide your own training routine?
Yeah, so when I got to the Saints, our coach, Dan Dalrymple, had me working out with the quarterbacks day one, and I went through the workout. There's lots of push-ups and sit-ups and, shoulder mobility stuff. And I went up to him after day one, and I just said, hey, Coach, I don't want to be disrespectful, but I was wondering if I could work out with some of the other position players. And he kind of thought I was being a jackass. And he said, sure, why don't you work out with the O-line tomorrow? And I said, okay, great. Well, the next day we did bench press and power clean, which are my two strong lifts coming out of college. And I stuck with those guys throughout the whole workout. And
can you give us some numbers?
I can't remember, honestly. I got notebooks like Papa, though. I can go back and find them. I've got 12 years of
You
journals.
still power clean, though, right?
I don't.
Oh, you don't?
No, I hurt my back in 14, and I just said risk reward, not worth it. I'll do some pulls from the floor, but I don't do any catching. But anyways, so I did it. I said I didn't give him a chance to take it back, and I said, okay, great, thanks. And I walked off. Well, the next day I stuck with those guys, and he came up to me and he said, hey, I thought you were being a jackass.
My bad.
Hey, if you've got your thing that you want to do, just run it by me. I just don't want to be the reason you can't punt at practice because you're too sore or something like that. And so ever since my second day there, I've really never done the team workouts, and he's let me do my own thing. I joked with Mickey Loomis when I spoke with him when I got released, and he said, hey, look, if you want to keep using the gym, you're more than welcome to. And I said, well, number one, I'm not going to go train when you have Blake Gillikin there, and I don't want to be standing over his shoulder. I'm not on the team anymore. And I said, number two, if I decide to take my stuff out of the weight room, you're going to have to build a new weight room because half the stuff in that gym is mine that I put in there.
Damn!
Anyway, so I haven't pulled any of it out of there, but at some point I'm going to have to get it out, and once I figure out what I'm doing, I'm going to put a little bit of a gym in my house. So
we got some storage space here, Thomas, and we're around the corner.
I got a Kaiser Power Runner.
Yeah.
I've got a Rogue glute ham from the floor.
Yep.
That's my number one exercise. And then I got a bunch of toys to do different stuff with where people think I'm crazy.
Do you ever use a reverse hyper?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's key for the back.
Absolutely. I've got one that I've been training with at a different gym here in town. So anyway, so I've got to go get all that stuff at some point. So.
All right. What does your training routine look like typically in terms of preparation for punting? And I mean fitness-wise.
Well, I mean, I have a core set of things that I do. The biggest issue I have basically is every year you punt for 6 months or 7 months, and you kind of get more and more out of alignment. And then I spend my whole offseason trying to get close back to the middle, which is not middle for me would be actually out of alignment the other way.
Is it because right leg's so dominant?
Yeah, you're just used to firing on one side.
Yeah.
And so kind of think of it as almost getting twisted a little bit.
Yeah.
Over time, you kind of get more twisted. And so I spend every offseason, if I used to be 50-50, then my middle's probably somewhere at 50, 45 or 60-40, and towards the end of the season I can get closer to like 70-30.
Oh shit.
And so it's kind of, some of that dysfunction is functionally good for punting a ball high and far, but if you get too far out of whack, you get hurt. And so it's just trying to keep that balance and keep it. I'm always spending the off season trying to get back to close to middle.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So do you do a lot of single limb exercises?
Yeah. So I started following a guy on Instagram a few years ago. Guy's name is Ben, knees over toes guy. I don't know if you guys have heard of him.
I'm not sure.
But basically, the gist of all of his training is you got to get your knees over your toes, which is something I was told not to do for like the first 15 years of my athletic career. So, so I've been doing a ton of that, and I feel phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of different movements that I haven't done before. But like I said, I'm getting better ranges. The big issue I have right now is, when you kick for so long, and I haven't just punted, I've kicked for my whole life, my right hip is just different than my left hip. Mm-hmm. And so my internal rotation on my right leg is just poor. And so for me to point my feet straight, that's really me turning my right hip in pretty good.
Yeah.
And so if I can, I just need I'm always trying to just get a little extra internal, because that makes a huge difference for me doing my job. Everything else, I squat, I power clean, or not power clean, I do power pulls. I do all everything. I would say if you were to just look at me and take a picture, you'd say, hey, the guy's pretty well symmetric.
Yeah.
But the hip is just different on my right side relative to my left side. So, I try to cross train and do everything other than some of those special movements, because I just feel like if the whole body's working well together, that's going to equate to being good at anything.
Yeah.
So,
is there any movements you should avoid as a kicker?
No, because look, everybody's anatomy is different. I joke with, my wife is built like my father-in-law, and they can both just, the babies come running to them, and they just squat down to their heels, and their feet are flat on the ground. And I'm like, I've never been able to do that in my life, right?
Yeah.
I've got to be on my toes to do that. So everybody's anatomy is
That's
different.
why I asked you if you wanted to do the plates from the hang and not go to the ground, because you
that.
have long limbs.
I do appreciate that. But, we're all built differently. And, look, I work with specialists all the time, high school kids that are trying to get into college, or college kids that are trying to get in the NFL. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. Well, there are some philosophically, there's some things you shouldn't do and things you should do. But how you get to the position on contact, everybody's different. And you go look at top guys in the league, they all look different. And so I just kind of watch how people do things, and I try to make recommendations. But, it's like saying you have to do it this way. I just did the class. There were 20 different bodies in that class.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to do it a little bit different. But there are some standards that you would say, hey, everybody needs to do this piece this way, or this should be a focus. But
yeah, you may not notice, but we walk around and I'm talking to people individually about, you can do this instead of this, do this instead of this.
I was just trying not to pass out. So,
Yeah.
I just had blinders on.
It's different. It's different than you're used to.
It is. I told somebody, I said, I train like a cheetah. I'm like laying in the grass. I've got 2 minutes of rest, and then a
30-minute workout is going to wipe you.
Yeah, and it did.
What were you going to say, Sarah?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, with all these different bodies, like, you're right. You want to hit key points of performance on any movement you're going to do, just to keep that body safe. Like, certain things are going to keep that body safe. But I don't squat the way Bradley squats. Like, our feet look totally different, and our hips do different things, and our knees do different things. And you have to adjust for your body, but also its history.
I have a giant hip shift to the right due to my ACL, MCL tear from soccer. And so, I've had that for 13 years. And I've been trying, I've been really focusing this year at 37 on trying to rebuild that and fix that, because that presents problems elsewhere. So I had a slap tear along with some bicep tendonitis, AC joint arthritis, and glenohumeral bursitis, I think. And so I've been rehabbing that for 6 months, a year now. But one thing that I found super interesting is that I was told that my hip shift and then my ankle flexion could have put me in positions along the way over the past decade to tear that shoulder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that makes sense, right? You said your right hip. So
Yeah.
I think the body is you think about your sling from your left shoulder connected to your right hip, and your right shoulder is connected to your left hip. And that sling and how that works. And so I tore my shoulder up, left shoulder, making a tackle in 2010. And ever since then, I've always had little things go wrong with my right side. Now, part of that's kicking.
Yeah.
But part of that is the issue that I had when this shoulder was always set back properly. Well, it's not set back as properly, so it's shorter. And so the tie-in is you're not going to have issues down your whole left side. You're going to have issues down your right hip and that leg.
Which plays out because Bradley discovered when he was getting inverted on the wall that he was having issues with his opposite hip shifting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have videos. Sarah's taking the videos, and she's like, do this. And I'm like, I can't. Like when I'll do a strict handstand push-up inverted, it's a giant shift to the right.
Yeah.
The minute the descent starts.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, and look, some of those things, if you go look at some of these, like there's an old Greek power lift or Olympic lifter, probably from a decade ago maybe. He had a total different shift in how he held this bar up because he had some deficiency in his shoulder, but he was able to figure out how to get it up.
Right.
But so there's going to be some anatomical things that, if you've had a bad car wreck or you've had some injury that's changed the way your body is, you're going to have some shifting or some imbalance, and it's basically being aware of what that is to me and figuring out how you can stop yourself from getting hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's why, like, get back to the basic question you guys just asked. When you guys have all these different bodies in here, y'all's job is not to make everybody do the movements the same. It's to go around, and as you get to know people over time, it's seeing how people operate, what their movements are, what their deficiencies are, and then helping them become aware of those. But those people have to make the changes, right?
Yeah.
Over time.
No, it's tough.
And they've got to learn their own body, and the people that can hear and listen to their body, that's a learned skill that if you haven't done it before, it sounds crazy. But if you've been in here in the gym for a long enough time, it becomes part of why people get to where they're at, is because it just becomes part of you.
No lie, a coach can only tell you so many times before that coach stops telling you because you refuse to make the change.
It's not good when your coach stops yelling at you. It means they've given up. It's not good. That's what I tell young players. Hey, coach is yelling at you. That's good. He still cares. He still cares.
I love it. What kind of is your structure of your workouts? So, do you do full body every day, lower body X amount of days, upper body, accessory work?
I think my plan would be to do legs are always on the priority. I almost never do arms, like if you're just talking about isolating.
Right.
Pretty much full body stuff, but legs would be Monday, Wednesday, Friday if I'm feeling great. Upper body Tuesday, Thursday, and then every now and then I'll squeeze a Saturday in if I can get up early.
What does Saturday look like?
Just another upper body.
Okay.
It just depends how I'm feeling. But
Yeah.
so much more of it's now with having young kids, and just it's been easier this year with these guys living at the house. Mimi likes getting up early and making lunches, and Papa likes taking the boys to school. So I haven't had to wake up early as I have in years past. And so that's
What's
been
early to you?
helpful. What's that?
What's early to you?
Getting up at 6.
Okay.
But when you have kids, it doesn't take 4 of them to be crazy. It just takes 1 of them. And normally somebody's getting up every night, so it's just interrupted sleep. And you want to be able to spend at least 30 minutes with your wife quietly.
Yeah.
At the end of the night, just doing nothing, but just be able to take a breath. And
That's why we put our kids to sleep at 8 to 8:30.
we try to put them to bed, but it doesn't always happen.
Every day.
Our kids' butts are in the seats 7:20.
I love it.
And so they our 2 boys are. So we've got an early bedtime when we get everybody from outside inside at 7.
To each his own, but I hear some parents let their kids stay up till 10, and I'm like,
No way.
that's crazy. And the reason I find it crazy is because whatever about the kids' sleep, I need some alone time.
Yes, you need alone
to chill
time.
out.
You
Yeah,
need chill out time before you actually go to bed.
Right.
It's not like you just finish with the rat race and then go to sleep, because then the rat race starts again and you don't ever have.
Well, without fail, my kids get up in between 6 and 6:30.
Yeah.
Without fail, and they don't understand Saturday and Sunday. That's not a concept to them.
See, our kids actually will sleep in a little bit better on the weekends.
Oh, you were
But it's
lucky.
because we have the kids never are ready to go to bed when it's bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever and we'll let them stay up for maybe 30 minutes.
CBD
extra.
Melatonin Gummies.
Oh man, we haven't started letting them have those yet. So
I do. So like, it's actually weird, and it's an experiment. So I checked with a neurologist and all that stuff before.
Yeah.
We sell them here. It's not a plug. We do. I take 2 every night. Emily takes 1. Vivian, my youngest, she's 3. She gets half a CBD melatonin gummy.
There you go.
And then my son, though, who's older and heavier, he only gets a quarter. And you might say, well, why? Because we found on a half a gummy, he has crazy nightmares.
yeah,
So we cut that down to a quarter. He still goes to sleep quickly and restful, but no nightmares.
cool.
Huh?
Melatonin.
Trial and error. Yeah,
like it.
it's the melatonin for sure. So, all right. What's your nutrition look like?
I don't know.
When did you start taking it serious?
Well, taking it serious and doing the right thing are 2 different questions. So I
Absolutely.
would say taking it serious probably at 19 years old, but really learning and, that's just like anything. Your experience compounds interest over time, and it just becomes like, I would say the biggest thing about my nutrition now is that it's incredibly simple. So pretty much
We tell people that's like a key to success is keeping it simple.
yeah, I think just the less things there are, the better. And I mean, I know you're not supposed to, like, nutritionalists will say, hey, you shouldn't have certain foods every single day. I haven't found that to be the case.
I eat the same thing.
I have pretty much the same thing most mornings. It'll either
Yes.
be
Yes.
egg,
Yes. Oh.
egg, avocado, and potato, or egg, avocado with a few slices of toast. Then that's it. Almost every morning. I do like kombucha in the morning. If I'm not working out immediately, if I am working out immediately, I'll have it for lunch. I love granola. But really, I try to get things, if you just look on people like looking at calories and different types of calories. I don't really pay attention to that. I more look at, like, how many ingredients are in something that's been processed.
Mm-hmm.
And so if the ingredient list is long, I try not to eat it.
Yeah.
And so
You're also super active, though, so it's a little bit different. Like, your energy expenditure might be higher than most people.
yeah, I would say I've really cut down on sugar in the past 4 years. In people, I think there's probably a little bit of an issue with, this is kind of going a little bit down a rabbit hole here, so bear with me, but, like, I think a lot of people think they're eating healthy because they eat a lot of fruit, and a lot of the fruit that we ingest publicly, blueberries shouldn't look like the size of a nickel, right? That's just a lot of sugar. And people eat gobs of them. They don't eat 10 berries, right? They eat a container of berries, and sugar is sugar. And so I really don't eat much fruit. I'll have a few here and there, but I really don't eat much fruit at all. And I think a lot of people have liver issues in our country now because of how much fruit they eat. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's what I think. And so your liver actually is what helps digest fructose.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we get a lot of that. And people that think they're eating healthy, they're eating a lot of fruit, a lot of sugar.
Well, we recently did a podcast on good foods versus bad foods, and the reality is that there are no bad foods. It's just quantity. And so if your quantity of sugar is high,
Yeah.
then it will present problems in your liver.
And I think the other piece of that is, how do you ingest your sugar, right? So I had a friend who thought they were eating healthy. I said, well, what do you have for breakfast? He said, well, I just have a banana every morning to start the day. And I said, you don't have anything else with it? I said, so you basically having a snowball for breakfast? He was like, what? There's some nutritional benefit to a banana. But I would say, hey, have an egg with an avocado with a banana, and your body will digest that totally different than if you just throw sugar down the hatch.
Or Bradley Schneller breakfast, banana and 3 slices of turkey.
Yeah, but you threw something else in there, some protein, some fat. My biggest thing I tell people as I've gotten older, if I don't get enough fat, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
So I eat a lot of avocado. We have a big bowl of avocados that's always stocked. And
Do you have a tip for eating them at the right time?
eating them at the right time?
Yeah,
When they're
like
ripe.
when they're ripe, because there's I buy plenty of avocados, I throw half of them away.
Yeah, I would say we definitely have.
I know some people have
we're
like timers and they'll put it in the fridge at an X time, and
No, I don't do that. I mean,
None of
look,
that.
We go to the grocery store way too frequently anyway, so it's not like I have to buy 100 at a time or 10 at a time, right? It's that I know every second day we're going back to the grocery store, and so
You operate
I'll
like
just get
that?
A few more.
What?
Go to the grocery store. I go to the grocery store 3 or 4 times a week.
We'll go twice.
I wish we went twice, but
I like going to the
But
grocery
it's al- I mean,
store.
it's
I put a
also-
podcast in.
We do. We eat the same things every week. There's 2 of us. We don't have
Yeah.
kids yet.
Yeah.
That certainly makes it easier. Yeah. So pretty straightforward for us.
Is it a pill going to the grocery store for you? Because do people stop you all the time?
no. I would say I don't feel like that going anywhere. People will say hi. People will say who dat. People will say we love you. We're gonna miss you. Stuff that's very, appreciated appreciated. And so I don't really feel that anywhere. I mean, I go train over at Oxner Fitness all the time, and every now and then I'll get locked into a conversation that I'm kind of like, all right, my set should have started 2 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I can't get out of it, but that's pretty infrequent. And
I can teach you how to get out of those conversations. I'm the king out of
Well,
them.
I know how to get out of them, but it's I'm a little bit direct in the way I deal with people, so that doesn't always come off very well.
Sarah, you want to share the Bradley Schneller way of getting out of a conversation?
So we have next door in the gym space, we have the bar. And I was talking to a member at the bar who, it was just one of our members that's a talker. And I had things to do. Bradley sees this person as he's walking in. And at the time, he lived with his earbuds in, his Bluetooth earbuds. And he did not. I knew this. He walked in. He said hi to this member. And he's like, oh, I got to go take this call. And I was like, oh, you liar. You are full of it.
Oh, sorry. Well,
That's awesome.
I wear the earbuds less now.
You do.
I tried
So
to.
if you do that now, we know.
Oh, sorry. I got a phone call. Real quick. I got to go.
It's
So.
in my ear.
Awesome. So, Thomas, any lasting imparting advice you want to give to our listeners out there, either fitness, nutrition, health, life, mindset, mental fortitude?
Yeah, I guess a nugget that would be good. Have you guys ever heard of the Bezos regret minimization theory?
I have not, but I am.
Not that I want to do everything that Bezos has done. He's been in the news for not some good things recently, but I don't want to get into it.
Can I just say it?
You can say it.
Well, I'll say one thing is that this is not recently, but he bought out. He started selling diapers. So diapers.com used to be super awesome. I just love telling this story. I don't know why, but I'm just going to say it. So diapers.com was mom and pop organization that rose to prominence. They're selling diapers online. Bezos wanted to get in the diaper business. So he started losing money purposely on diapers because he could to put diapers.com out of business. And then he acquired them and then raised his prices all up. The Amazon way. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so I think this philosophy I just heard once was basically if you can look ahead to being 80, 90, 100 years old and kind of, not able to do much, alone with your thoughts, can you deal with the decisions you make in your life?
Mm.
And I think a
That's
lot
strong.
of people find ways to not let themselves think about things like that. And I think that's a good thing I haven't going for me, is that I'm very vulnerable with myself and willing to go into those places and can I deal with this? And so I pretty much do that with most decisions I make. If not that I have many crossroads. I mean, most things what the right and wrong thing to do is, but basically, can you deal with if you have 2 different ways to go? If you do this and these are the options of how it works out, or you do road B, and you just kind of look and just have to be honest with yourself. And I think if you can learn to be honest with yourself, once you start doing that with your daily decisions, I think you there's nowhere you're not hiding from yourself. And I think a lot of people do that not in all areas of their life, but everybody has things that are deficient or things that are, vices, things that they know that are not good for them, for their life. And I think if you can be honest with yourself, because I think everybody wants the best for themselves. They want their best physical, they want their best relationships, they want their best job, they want to have the, whatever it is that you could be striving for. I think if you can get into a way of being like that, just leads to no regrets. And I think that's pretty cool to live that way. So,
Whew, I love it. Eric,
That's deep.
I would be remiss if I didn't ask you as an aging CrossFitter, what would you tell other people out there? Give your best advice.
Just stay within yourself. Do what you can do. Go hard.
Stay hard.
Get stronger. Stay hard.
hey,
Stay hard.
I got something to add on to his. So I remember asking him probably a decade ago when you started getting really into it, and I was just like, because it's not like you've been doing this your whole life. Right, you've gotten more into fitness on the back half of your
Correct.
life than you were on the front
Correct.
half, and I was just asking him why he kind of like, what made it click for him to be so into it, and he was like, "Man, I just want to be able to eat. If I want to go eat this dessert, I want to be able to go do that."
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, that's pretty cool, and I think that's a New Orleans thing. And you eat pretty dang healthy.
I do.
You do,
I try.
but you allow yourself to have the day off when
I
you
had a
want
great roast beef.
Yeah, so
So I
a
just
lot of
think
people
that's
don't
a
know.
cool thing.
Yeah, that is awesome. A lot of people don't know this. Radastas in Old Metairie. I think it is on. Is it Papworth? It's not Papworth.
Nope.
It's Eris.
Eris.
It's on Eris. Okay. I used to walk there when I was in elementary school and get a po' boy because my grandfather lived around the corner. You got the roast beef po' boy. That is their best po' boy. Okay.
I did not know that.
It is. What did you think? Did you get extra
I
mayo?
thought it's the best one I've ever had.
He
but
told me
I
that
haven't
yesterday.
had a lot.
When he came home, he said, "This is the best roast beef po' boy
It's
I've
the
had."
best one that I've had.
So there you go.
I
That-
have not had this.
You haven't? It's
No.
it's
Got a
awesome.
little kick to it. It's really good.
It's really good. And now I want to go eat one.
But he's our resident foodie. So like, if we go on a big family trip, when we went to Italy
Oh, yeah.
4 or 5, 6 years ago, probably 6 years ago, we just said, "Papa, you're our guy. Figure out where we're eating our lunches and our dinners for the 3 nights we're in Italy." And we had 5 of the 6 were outstanding, and the only reason the 6th wasn't is because we got the wrong address. So I'm so
Oh, that stinks.
but my point is he's kind of a foodie, and he was like, "Hey, I want to be able to eat what I want," and so that's kind of what got him. And I think he started because of Lauren,
Mhm.
right? You were like, "Hey, I can do
CrossFit.
this with
Definitely.
my wife."
Yeah, how come we haven't seen Lauren?
I keep trying to get her out here. She's going to come.
Okay, good. She would like that 8:30 group.
Yeah, she would. She really
That'd
would.
be right up her alley. Do you have a favorite restaurant that you like to go to here?
Man,
I know you can't say it. I know you can't say it.
No,
Is-
I can't even say it
Oh.
because there's 100 in New Orleans.
Is there one that you frequent often?
Lauren and I got engaged at Irene's Cuisine.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, nice.
And they have a flourless chocolate cake that is so good.
I love flourless chocolate
Yes,
cake.
it's like one of those desserts where like this is like feels like it's cheating, but it's actually not too bad other
Right.
than the sugar that's in it. It's
Yeah.
it's a good. We always look forward to that when we go eat there. So
That's awesome. What's your
Yeah.
favorite pizza place? I need to know.
pizza place.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say.
I am judgy on this, Thomas. Just to
Are
let
you?
you know.
Where do we normally? What's Lauren order? She gets that gluten-free pizza from.
Starts with
Mark Twain's.
no.
No, but I've had theirs. This is good. Fat Boys were near there as well, but it's kind of a New
Metairie.
Orleans Metairie.
Tower of Pizza.
No.
Theo's.
Theo's.
Yeah.
Theo's.
Theo's.
So if y'all haven't been, NOLA Brewing has a really good
That's
pizza
the Nola
right
Pizza
now.
Company, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think they had McClure's barbecue before, but I don't know. It sounds really bougie.
Is it a-
Some
is it a
New
McClure's was
York
good, too.
water way they deal with the dough, but friend's birthday.
Does it feel better
Wednesday-
than it looks?
What do you, the
Because it looks heavy, but
No,
it's not heavy. Okay,
No,
all right.
it's really good. My
right.
my friends who live in Algiers Point, that's their pizza place now. They come across the river to grab the NOLA Brewing pizza.
My favorite pizza place is on Ferret. It's Aunt Cora. It's wood fired. They use some really fresh ingredients. Awesome. Like if you want a mascarpone pizza, that's the place to go. Emily says, I haven't been to Italy, but she says the pizza at Aunt Cora tastes most like the pizza in Italy. So
The best pizza I've ever had is actually by my brother. My brother makes his own pizzas, and he goes to Whole Foods and he has all of his select ingredients. And so
have you ever been to Norjo's and picked up their flour?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Joe Lombardi
made
gave us
those.
that tip,
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Because he used to cook all his pizzas. They would cook like 8 because he's got like 20 people in his family.
No lie. No lie.
We miss you, Joe. We miss you, Joe and Molly.
Yeah.
Somali at our 8:30 group.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
But and he would do them on his green egg. So yeah, it's satisfying when you make it. It might not be as good as one of these other places, but the fact that you made it, it's super satisfying.
Hey, we try to do that and let our kids see us cooking, and even though that half the time they're like, I don't like that, and we're like, you ate it last week, what the heck, But we try to do our own cooking, and it's no doubt when you cook your own stuff, there's a satisfaction from that. It always tastes better.
For sure.
Yeah, and I tell nutrition clients a lot that maybe struggle on the weekends. Like, there's a lot, people do great Monday through Friday with everything, and then the weekends are free for all. I'm like, make something on the weekend, get like a nicer cut of meat, get the tuna steaks, and like make it an experience versus just your normal Monday through Friday.
Claire had a great post in our nutrition Facebook group the other day about what is a restaurant meal that you try to recreate at home. And I think that is super huge because you can create a similar taste, but control the ingredients a lot better. So awesome. All right, Thomas, we appreciate it, man. Yeah. And we sure as hell wish you the best of luck. Until you leave, pop back in. I'd love to work out with you one day.
I see all y'all's rings in here, and I don't have access to, like, the big hanging rings.
Come on in.
So I need to come in and
we're open all day, man. After those kids go to school.
I'm doing all my gymnastics, strength training stuff on those rings. That's fun.
Yeah, so. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, man. Peace it.
I don't know where
I don't know what that means.
that.
All right, y'all. Bye.
Bye.